Today I want to give you a real talk why it sucks to do business here in Colombia and what it takes to still make it happen. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam and at How to Expat we help expats relocate. So we've been running more or less successfully expat business here in Colombia for around 2 years now, and I want to share my experience why it's very hard to do business in Colombia, especially as a foreigner, and what it takes to still make it happen. So as always, I have my little list here with my points, and then the first thing, let's get right into it, is that many people don't like to work with official businesses. So if you are a foreigner, you most probably have to and want to open an official business. So that means an incorporated business. That would be an SAS, which is something like an LLC in the US or in Great Britain or something. So not a sole proprietorship. What makes it actually tough to work with an incorporated company is that a lot of the economy in Colombia is not official. So first of all, they might have no kind of certificate or a business license or something whatsoever. Most people don't really actually need anything. So most Colombians actually work as a sole proprietorship here. They don't really have too many kind of negative impacts. Let's say, of course, one of the big things, especially in the US, is that you are secured with your personal assets. And that's kind of a different entity than your business aspect or assets, which in Colombia doesn't really make sense because most people just work as a 1, 2, 3 people kind of unit or even company, and they're in it with their livelihood anyway. So that's a reason, next to, of course, that the running cost of having an LLC is way higher, that people just work as sole proprietorships. And as a sole proprietorship, you have way less restrictions and way less paperwork you have to do compared to an SAS, which again is like an LLC. So then the first thing is already that you're competing with a lot of sole proprietorships, even though they're technically kind of already a company because they work as kind of partners together instead of forming a company around. So you as a foreigner have to fill out a lot of paperwork, waste time and money there to be able to do that. And of course that comes from your margin. So that's already kind of a negative point of doing business as a foreigner in Colombia. Then the second thing is that these people that work as a sole proprietorship, many of them don't really issue, let's say, official invoices and all of that. They might have kind of an invoice template, but it's not what you are required to have from your suppliers or customers as an LLC or an SAS in the Colombian case, which makes it so much harder. So to many of those of Colombians, you want a contract, you have to ask them for the right paperwork so that you can do your accounting in the correct fashion. Then the next thing is just taxes and rules. So there are many rules. Latin America is notorious for being very bureaucratic, and that you have to file a lot of paperwork for whatever. And that's so true. It's so hard just to even write kind of a simple invoice takes a lot of time, especially in Colombia. There is the whole thing around, I can tell you, it's very complicated with the electronic invoicing, which nobody knows. I talk to so many people, nobody knows exactly how it's done. Somebody says this, somebody says that, and then the Colombian government and the rules, they change all the time. All the due dates when people actually have to change to that system, it will be changed all the time. It's just a real mess and nightmare. So it's really, you have to crawl through all of that and find out what you actually have to do just in order to file an easy invoice or a simple invoice. It's just a real nightmare. Then the taxes in Colombia, so the business taxes are 33%. On top of that, of course, there's a 19% VAT. So in Colombia, this is called IVA, which again, because a lot of your competition most probably here is gonna be sole proprietor, they don't have any taxes. So they don't have VAT in their services, and most of them don't have income taxes because, as I've said, they don't do business, let's say 100% on the books. And the other thing is, even if they do that, most of the people here don't really reach their threshold of their personal income. So as a sole proprietorship, that they really have to calculate taxes. So yes, you can imagine you have 33% on your net income and 19% VAT, and you're competing with somebody that doesn't pay that at all. You can see like where your margin shrinks and shrinks and shrinks now. So that's another thing, of course. Then the other thing is just the Colombian culture and the Colombian laws again, and just the language barrier. So you might have suppliers or service providers or whatnot that speak in Spanish with their Colombian culture, and you first have to kind of figure out how they actually communicate. We have done a couple of videos about cultural differences here. So a yes doesn't really mean a yes in many senses. So you have to be able to have the feeling of, or kind of the sensing of, what exactly does this service provider want to tell me if they say yes, they offer this service. So do they really offer this service, or are they just trying to be polite, or are they not even interested in working with you? So that took me quite a while to figure all these kind of things out, which now after 2 years more or less efficient to work with the Colombians on things like that in a business sense. And then of course just the workforce. So we come here and we think, yeah, of course labor is cheap, so you can come here and employ a person, you give them 3 times minimum salary, which would be, so the minimum salaries to around $250 US, so you give them 3 times that, so it's $750, and they will do a great job because you provide them with 3 times the minimum salary. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, it's not really that way. So somebody that works for a minimum salary here, most of those people won't be punctual, they won't speak English at all. So all of things factored in, it's kind of hard to find a good personnel in Colombia, especially if you have kind of a technical need. So if, let's say, you have an online company, you need somebody to do online marketing or whatnot, to find an employee that does that. And that doesn't mean that there are not a lot of people around that can do that. The thing is that if people have a skill and they know they're good with what they're doing, especially in Medellin, they will have their own company. They're not interested to work for somebody else. So what you could do is either work with them as a partner, but then it's a whole other thing. Of course, they're not fully responsible for your project and your business. So it's sometimes hard to kind of push them to that they reach your deadlines, because you're not their only customer. But that's how it works here. People rather work for themselves. They have the liberty what comes with that, instead of being employed, and the ones that wanna or could be employed are not really don't really fulfill the requirements you usually have. And of course, this is very, very generalized, and I know a lot of business owners that have great people in their staff, but it's rather rare that you really find that you're able to bring together a good team of high quality people that also bring a skill. So that's just said there. So these were my points that really makes it tough to work here as a foreigner in Colombia. So let's talk about what it actually takes to make it happen here. So first of all, you have to be able and willing to take an adventure. So this will be an adventure. Doing business in Latin America, coming from a different culture, a different language, you really have to be open-minded, otherwise it won't work. You really have to enjoy the process of finding these things out, even if they're hard, to be able to make it. And it's not just kind of a motivation thing. You come here and in the first month you're totally motivated. No, you have to bring that motivation every day for 2-3 years to make it happen here. Otherwise you just will not, because things take forever here, especially running an official company. And if you don't bring that an open mind and a willingness to experience a business adventure, it's really going to be tough. Then the other thing is, if you might have an ongoing business, so I worked or tried to work with a company which has nothing to do with expating, that is a household name in the world for what they're doing, And then if they want to facilitate kind of their subsidiary here in Colombia, that's a different thing. So let's say if you're Nike and you want to set up a headquarter here in Bogota, in Colombia, that's a little bit of a different thing. But I think if you watch this video, you're more probably the small business owner, and for us it's a little bit a different thing. So for us, I would say it's harder. Instead of you just wanting to kind of facilitate a subsidiary here, that's a whole other thing. I would say there you can be successful if you do it the right way. And then the other thing, and I think this is very, very important, if you have to be able to make money inside of 6 months, otherwise you would have to leave Colombia again and work somewhere else. So if your buffer for doing business, living here is just 6 months, you have, like I would say, no chance. So if you have to make money fast, that's kind of, I think, normal in business. So not many startups come up with the goal to make it happen in 6 months. So I would say to be able to take it more or less easygoing and not stress out over every little detail, because you will if you're under pressure economically. I would say have a buffer of around 2 years that you can easily and comfortably live here in Colombia with your cost of living and also run a business. Then you are able to develop all these skills, the cultural knowledge, the language barrier and all of that. You can break that and then be able to make it happen with your business. So it takes a little bit of time, it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of openness, I think even more openness than hard work actually. So yes, this is what I can leave you with in this video. I want to give you a real talk now, having worked in the Colombian system for more than around 2 years now. It's really, really tough, and it's not as easy as many people think, but it's really, really rewarding once you're able to do it. So I think that's at the end of the day the thing, and it's gonna be an adventure, I can promise you that. So I hope this video helped. If you want to see more videos like that, don't forget to subscribe. Hope to see you in the next video.